So this is part two of the previous video, but essentially Mercury retrograde created a lot of chaos around all kinds of things to where I just didn't have capacity to even feel my grief for my cat because of everything else going on with taking care of my friend's dog, uh, helping their family, uh, an elderly family member who had fallen, and all kinds of other stuff. I can't even. It was just like it was just so chaotic, so chaotic, all within a span of like 4 or 5 days, and then having to put Crush down was difficult. 16 years, and that's when I say that most people go to work. Most people spend their days without their animals. I lived every single day from the time she was a kitten. I was a freelancer. Uh, I think I only worked like a few months before I left that job, maybe a year, one before I became a freelancer. And that cat laid by my head all day long on my recliner, in my bed, laid in my lap. When I worked, laid in my lap, sat with me every single day for, 16 years until I left on the first. So it was super difficult because I wasn't able to be there. I debated driving back or flying back, and then my mom said she would handle it. She had prepared and she would handle it. And energetically, I worked with the soul of the animal and that, and it was like, okay, it's time, just do it. I need to be here energetically for what I'm doing and the things that I'm working on. And going back now would just be a drain on what I'm doing. I have to go back probably in October, but to go back now would just be too early. And so we made the decision. My mom put her down on Friday, and uh, yeah, so supposedly it went easy. It went easily. It was interesting because my mom told me the time, and it was the time like I actually felt it in my body. It happened, which was an interesting experience. Feeling like the separation of that in the physical bond burning away essentially and shifting into something else. And then the whole point is that I got so I think she started developing the eyesores in October last year, and then November I was maintaining them a lot, uh, and then December, I think it was end of November, maybe beginning of November. I don't know, maybe somewhere in there. But the actual the lump appeared, and I swear that the reason she lived was sound frequency, uh, and the vibration that I kept her in. And that's why I wanted to do these videos because one, it's to say, hey, I'm still here. I don't have the energy right now to be as active as I was, and I'm trying to get back to it. I'm trying to work through it, get back to it. And I also wasn't able to process a lot of what I was feeling because there was so much chaos last week with everything. And it was just like, just keep moving, take care of this person, take care of that animal, keep moving. You got other things to deal with right now. So I'm still processing a lot. And you can probably hear and feel it in my voice too. But I felt like I needed to do a video because the sound frequency I feel saved her life for it's okay, so it's end of August right now, right? We're going into September. So that's what, 8 months, nine. So she lived 10, 9, 10 months with that cancer. Uh, it started growing aggressively when I left. It got far more aggressive when I left because the sound frequencies weren't playing all the time. The sound frequencies weren't playing all the time, which meant that it was able to do that. And I feel that had I been there, and I don't regret leaving, I had to and all that, but I do have the awareness that had I been there or in a situation, had I stayed in my apartment, whatever, she would have lived a lot longer because the sound frequencies are what kept her alive. Um, Ultimately, she was in a lot of pain before she had the cancer too. She was in pain all of her life. She uh, she had an injury when she was a kitten before I owned her. The people who uh, owned the mother who gave me the kittens, their children had like crushed her legs in the recliner, which is how she got her name. They named her Crush, and I just kept it. And so she had a lot of like back pain issues, and we always called them butt issues type of things. Uh, but was a, you know, dealt with it, or we had ways of dealing with it. And then it just got to the point that it was too much pain. And so too much pain, which meant, you know, it's time. And especially when that cancer grew to the point, my mom sent me a picture and her eye was closing shut from it being so big, and her nostrils, and it was like a baseball hanging off, um, or a smaller ball, but like it was hanging off of her face. Um, and I don't know how much bigger it was, but it was a lot bigger than when I left. And it's just proof to me that everything was saying 6 months, maybe 6 months to live. That cat lived for 9, 10 months, with that growing. Um, and I swear it was a sound frequency that did it. I Every time I left, I'd play the sound frequency, I'd leave, it would grow more. It would stop, and then when I'd leave, it would grow more. I'd come back, I'd play the sound frequencies, it wouldn't necessarily reduce, but it would stop, slow down. Then I left for an extended period of time, and it just went and bloomed. Um, Keep that in mind when you're working with your pets, with your animals, with yourself, healing yourself. Sound frequency brings us into a space of resonance, of normalizing our frequency to be where it's supposed to exist. And so it creates a space where like cancer can't live. If you use the right frequencies, you can target cancers and actually dissolve them because they can't exist in that frequency, and bringing the body back into alignment. So uh, energetically, I'm starting to bounce back. I'm just tired and exhausted and in that, but I'm starting to do stuff, and still processing a lot of the grief because I couldn't be there and that sort of thing. But also, I'm still talking to her. She's still around. I was talking to her before she left, and she's still here. And so, hasn't really left, just left in the physical. But it's an experience I'll never forget. I'll never forget playing those sounds and physically seeing that cancer stop growing. Um, I just won't ever forget that. And you know, she was gonna leave no matter what, whether I did it or something got to her, because that was an awareness I've had for 3 years. I was told she was gonna die this year, time travel experience type stuff. So I knew it was gonna happen, which doesn't make it easier, but on to different journeys, I guess, to help in different ways. So I don't know. I don't have much more to say on that, but thank you for listening if you have listened this far. And that's just a little bit of why I've been kind of absent and quiet, I guess. So love you all. Grateful for each and every one of you.